Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wholesale.fm podcast. We are the original voice of wholesale. I'm your host, Kevin Gallagher, and joining me today on the broadcast is Debra Rudzik of OttoStep.com. Debra, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you, Kevin?
Great. And I came across your website, saw the product. It's one of these things where when I see it, I'm like, why didn't somebody think of this like a whole bunch of years ago? So why don't you provide for the listeners, some background about yourself and actually how you got the idea for the product?
Okay. Well, I'm in the healthcare field, and my husband is actually in sales. And a few years back, we got a dog, and his name was Otto, and he was a St. Bernard mix. And anyway, we were a growing family with a minivan, and Otto didn't quite fit in the minivan, even as a pup. So we went out and bought an SUV, a full-size SUV, mainly for the dog so he could go with us because he liked to go for rides. And we're out at my folks one day, and Otto he wasn't a jumper. He'd put his front feet up, and we'd lift his hind end. And not that he had any health issues, but he just didn't like to jump. And my dad was outside, and he said, why don't you guys just build something you can stick in the hitch receiver? So my husband's brain started working, and we came home. He had a fallen oak tree that had been laying out for at least a year, so it was totally seasoned and really hard. And he cut some pieces of wood out of that oak and made a 2x2, I shouldn't even tell you all these details. Everybody will want to go do it. Anyway, a 2x2 stinger, we call it, and made the platform big enough so it was good for Otto. And stuck it in the hitch receiver and used that for about a year. And, of course, wood, well, screws and bolts and wood and weather and everything, it doesn't hold up.
Right.
And anyway, before we had done that, we had tried all kinds of boxes, steps, you name it, to get him into the back so he wouldn't have to jump. And we thought we were doing this just to get him in the car. Well, as time went on, people were commenting all the time about how that is such a great product. You need to sell those things. So I'm envisioning my husband in the garage building them while he's thinking, no, we're going to go talk to an engineer. There's Oregon State University has a big engineering program, and there's lots of engineers in our area. And we were introduced to a fella that did some contract work for Hewlett-Packard, which at that time was really big too. And this man was so good to us. He loved helping small businesses get going. And between he and us, we came up with the design. He came up with the right strength of plastic. And really, it's not plastic. It's glass-filled nylon. That's what the injection molder people say, glass-filled nylon. So it's kind of a high-tech material. Anyway, we tried it and ran a few runs, and through him we met the people in Oregon that they needed us and we needed them, and they gave us a good price for manufacturing. So that's kind of how it all began. And because our dog's name was Otto, we decided to call it Otto Step.
Makes sense, right? You were probably calling it that before you even realized it, right?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting here is everything you just told me. What type of what period of time or amount of time are we talking about from you getting the idea to actually having something that you could sell to somebody?
Well, when I first thought about this, I thought it took about 3 to 6 months. Well, it took 3 to 6 months to build it, use it, and then we used it for about a year. So our first prototype we used for a year, which was made out of wood. And then from there and getting the manufacturing going and everything, that probably took another 6 months or more. So, you know what? It took about, I'm going to say, a year and a half from the idea to having it ready to sell.
Wow. Now, can you tell the listeners, the buyers, exactly how does this work, and does it work with trucks, vans, station wagons, and SUVs?
You know, it works with every vehicle that has a cargo area. and that would be all of those vehicles. It is a platform. It's not a stair-step thing. It's just a solid platform, and it's 18 inches, 18 inches deep. Excuse me, I'm sorry. 18 inches wide by 16 deep, and then it has a 6-inch stinger on it, which slides into a hitch receiver, which is that square thing where hitches hook into SUVs, pickups, all of them. And you just slide it in, load your dog, pull it out. It doesn't lock in place with any mechanism, just simply the weight of the animal. As soon as they put weight on it, it locks itself in. It's long enough that it's not going to go anywhere.
So you're using weight or gravity to do the job for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's easy to install and take out. And
yes, a 6-year-old could do it. It only weighs 5.5 pounds, and it's super strong. And Otto got up to 200 pounds, and we made this thing to support him. And we hadn't really seen any dogs bigger than him at that time. And it actually is rated over 200 pounds. So it's a super light product, easy to use, and you can use it on, it's just not for extra large dogs. We have a bulldog right now, and he's got the short legs, and you don't want them jumping out. That was the big thing we learned. When we took it to the veterinarians and showed them our product, they loved it because they said it's the getting out that these dogs need to use these devices for. Ours needed it getting in, and there's a lot of dogs that do need it getting in. But when they jump out of these vehicles that are 3 feet up off the ground plus, there's centrifugal force that plays into it, and it causes a tremendous amount of stress on their knees, their elbows, their spines, all their joints. And so really it was a win-win situation for us. We got to load Otto, and we protected him when we got him out of the vehicle. So anything with a hitch receiver. Now, we even have some people that have tripod dogs that have purchased this from us, and they're dogs with only 3 legs, and they're really difficult to get in and out, and they're any size, and they were able to mount it on the side of their van. So anybody that has any mechanical ingenuity or anything could attach a receiver type thing under the side door for those dogs that go in the side of a van. And that really put the step, it was perfect for those dogs, just perfect.
Deb, what are the benefits of the Otto Step for both dogs and humans?
Well, first of all, you're going to prevent your dog from injuring themselves. And a lot of people don't understand how their pets get injured lots of times. They have a puppy, they're training it to sit, they're training it all kinds of things. But when they're puppies and they're growing, their joints are forming just like humans. And with that, their joints are very susceptible to injuries. And jumping down injuries are probably the most common injuries. And I think they're even called that by the vets, jumping down injuries. So we really need people to try to protect their dogs before this happens. And then we can prevent a lot of the hip surgeries and knee surgeries and all the problems that happen with joints.
How long does it take a dog to adapt or learn how to use this? Is it quick?
Very quick. If they go upstairs, they go up this. And dogs that travel with their families want to get in the car. So they're pretty smart animals, and they go the easiest route. So for anybody, what we suggest is when you put the step in, put your dog on a leash, make sure he's on a leash, and you and a companion stand on either side of that to force them up the step. Once they use it going in, they'll use it all the time.
Usually once or twice, and it's like, oh, I got it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, I'm sure you've gotten testimonials back, and I know I see that on your website, which is OttoStep.com. And can you tell us about some of the things that you have heard from users of your product?
Just that it's really easy to use. It's a lot of people, and I don't want to discount ramps because ramps serve the same purpose. They protect our dogs from injury. But ramps can weigh over 200 pounds, and these people are so impressed with the lightweight of this product and the dogs they can use it with. And they just love it. They really do love it. And same thing as you said, why didn't somebody think of this before us? We don't know. It's a pretty simple solution.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those things, as you were saying earlier, you had a need, and they say, necessity, it brings about invention. So it's one of those things, hey, we need this, so let's make that. And now you've been talking a little bit before about, what the vets were saying. What's the benefits for a vet or, say, a pet supply store? Say we have buyers here that are buying for pet supply. What would you say to people like that are maybe looking to supply this in their pet supply stores, pet stores, etc.?
Just come check us out. Check out the testimonials. It's for veterinarians. A lot of veterinarians don't carry products. They might carry some dog foods, but they generally don't carry products because they don't want to get into business of selling. However, a product that's going to protect your pet, and those vets, they do, they are joint surgeons. They do all kinds of surgeries on dogs that get a lot of injuries from things exactly like this when they don't have a step or a ramp or something to help them. So it's really beneficial to them. And we do sell through Amazon, and I don't want to make this a negative because veterinarians and wholesale, people that want to buy at wholesale are going to think that they're not able to compete with Amazon. Well, you are, because not everybody shops the computer. Some people like to come into the store and see it and handle it for themselves. And that's where we need to be. We need to be in the veterinarians' offices and any kind of pet store that offers products for dogs. It doesn't take up that much shelf space. It's not huge like a ramp. And it's just a really good product. It's a preventative medicine type product.
What's been perhaps the most unexpected benefit that you've received personally from using the product that you developed?
Well, I've saved my back.
You're not picking up a 200-pound dog and helping him into the back of the truck.
Yeah. And
wow.
You mentioned pickups. Yes, we have different adapters for pickups because the pickup has the tailgate.
Yes.
And so you have to allow for that. So we've come up with an extension that goes beyond the tailgate so they can still use Otto Step with that.
So they would step on the Otto Step, step on the tailgate, and into the back of the truck.
Exactly.
Okay. Deb, what is the best way a buyer can contact you to get more information about your product?
I'm going to say by phone or email. And our phone number is an 800 number, and it is 888-311-6886. And again, that is 888-311-6886, which is actually OTTO, Otto. And then my email address is Deb, D-E-B, at ottostep.com. And I want to reiterate, when we're talking Otto Step, we're talking OTTO Step, not AUTO. And we're a small company. I handle everything. All sales, all orders, all correspondence goes directly through me. And I know where everything is going and how much I have. So they won't get a runaround. They will talk to me directly.
That's excellent. Any other final thoughts, comments, or anything before we say goodbye?
I think we covered everything.
Okay. Stay tuned for upcoming interviews with the industry's leading movers and shakers. Wholesale.fm and the Voice of Wholesale talks directly with suppliers, manufacturers, liquidators, show promoters, trendsetters, and more. This is Kevin Gallagher, the voice of Wholesale.fm. Stay tuned for more great podcasts, and remember to check out our sister site, GetThatWholesale.com, the Internet's largest wholesale directory. You can contact me for more information on how to advertise or for an interview by calling 888-358-7822. Once again, that's 888-358-7822 at extension 707. Thank you.